Welcome to Clout 941, the only live television show on Sarasota politics and issues. I'm Ron Filipkowski. Tonight we're going to tackle the Venice City Commission race. We have one of the candidates, Emilo Carlesimo, here. We're glad to have him here, and we'll get to him after we do the news. But first, a little announcement. We're coming up on our one-year anniversary of the show, and the concept of the show was that we wanted to do sort of a Riley Factor style show, although not quite, where the guests get interrupted every 30 seconds. But we wanted to do that show on Sarasota politics and issues, and that's what we set out to do. And we wanted to bring your elected officials to you as well, and that's why we called it Clout 941. People with clout in Sarasota County, not just elected officials, but heads of newspapers. We had publishers, large businesses, charitable foundations. I think what we've done, what we set out to do, and we wanted to tell the truth. We wanted to be honest. Nobody has ever influenced me about what I can and can't say, and that's been great too. That said, these are tough economic times. It's tough to find sponsors in television, and it's very difficult. And our main sponsor, we lost a couple of months ago, and we've been trying to replace him. We're still trying. If we are able to do that, we'll keep the show going after our one-year anniversary. But if not, then we're going to have to call it a day next month. So if anybody out there is interested in sponsoring the show, the rates are very inexpensive. It doesn't take much to run this show, but we do need a few sponsors to keep the show going, and hopefully we'll be able to find that. Just to give you an example of some of our upcoming guests, by the way, we have State Senator Nancy Dietert coming up. We have Dr. Bob McCann, who is running for state representative in the north part of Sarasota. And we also have Supervisor of Elections Kathy Dent coming up. And you know the guests that we've had in the past. We've had just about all the elected officials in the county on the show at one point or another, as many as we can get. And we're still trying to get more of them, but there's a lot of office holders out there. So we're trying to keep it going. Now to the news. Senator Mel Martinez is full of surprises. He has been pretty much since the day he was elected. First announcing that he won't run again, and now resigning his seat, creating quite a mess for Charlie Crist. Crist has got to decide what to do. He's already ruled out appointing himself, which is a good thing. But most likely he'll announce a caretaker kind of guy, an esteemed elder statesman. What will be interesting to see is he going to appoint somebody who's openly endorsing him for Senate? That would be a big mistake. That would be going too far. He should not appoint anybody close to him, anybody working on his campaign, or anybody who's endorsing him. Meanwhile, in that race, Marco Rubio will not go away. Crist has had a lot of the people very close to Marco Rubio trying to persuade him to get out of the race. If Marco Rubio ran for Attorney General, for example, against Jeff Kottkamp, Marco Rubio would win that race, most likely. He could have a state Senate seat for the taking down there in Miami, but he doesn't seem to want to get out of the race. He's doggedly staying in, and you got to respect him for that. He's up against incredible odds, but he's out there working hard. And finally, a federal thing, which we don't talk about very often, but it piqued my interest, was there is a bill in both the Senate and the House to change the name of the Department of the Navy. And it will be changed to the Department of the Navy and Marine Corps. Now, I made sure to wear my Marine lapel pin tonight to show my support of this bill, because, every time we run into a Navy guy, that's all we hear about, us Marines, is that, that we work for them and we're under the Department of the Navy, and it's very aggravating. And so it would be nice to change the name to the Department of Navy and the Marine Corps, so we don't have to hear that anymore. And that's the news. And now to our guest, Emilo Carlesimo. I'm pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Ron, thank you for having me on the show, and congratulations on your one-year anniversary.
Okay, well,
thank you. Your show.
I appreciate it. And where do you stand on the Department of the Navy and Marine Corps, by the way?
Well, I'm with you.
There's a lot of former Marines down there in Venice. You got to get their votes. So, tell us about your family or background.
Ron, my wife and I have been married for 47 years. I was a firefighter in the city of Detroit, Michigan for 27 years. We bought a condo in Venice, Florida in 1978, rented it out for 10 years, then moved into it when I retired from Detroit in 1989. So we've been full-time residents in Venice for 20 years. I became bored with the retirement, and so I went back to work for Sarasota County as a fire medic.
You did? You went after you retired from Detroit?
Yes, I was 52 years old when I got hired.
Oh my goodness.
I was competing with the kids, and it was fun. I got hired, worked for the county for 13 years, retired again about 5 years ago, had a full life, got interested in politics last year. By the way, we have 2 daughters. Both of them have families. Both of them have master's degrees. I'm proud of that. And so we had a full life with the grandchildren and things.
What made you get civically active, get involved in politics? Was there one particular thing that caused you to do that? Or?
Yes, there was. And I can remember the morning it happened. It was in August last year. I was reading the paper, and I was reading, and it was quite clear from the newspaper articles that the council was grooming a candidate to run for city council. Now, I know that they can do that. There's nothing wrong with it. But you know, I just thought it was, if you have an imbalance on city council, people who are like-minded, and then you replace that imbalance with another imbalance, you're in the same position, except maybe the opposite court. And that's what upset me. I thought that we wanted a different voice on council. Not everybody should be like-minded on the council. And that's what got me going.
You would think the city of Venice isn't a big place, and there's, what, 7 city council members? That's a lot, isn't there? Because there's 7?
There's 6 council members
one
and
mayor.
1 mayor.
Okay, that's a lot. You'd think you'd have pretty diverse opinions with a board of that size, but...
Well, you know, yeah, you'd think so, but the previous election in '07, rightfully or wrongfully, I'm not going to get into that, but you know, there was a no-growth sentiment that prevailed in the city,
right?
And they elected 3 people who had the same
platform, yeah.
And that's the way it is. Okay, so they went in there and they did some good, you know, but in my opinion, the pendulum swung went a little bit too far.
All right, it's time for our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about his race and Venice politics when we come back.